Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the Dungeoneering updates today. My opinion on them, I do personally really like them, but I'll get into kind of like the details about a lot of it soon, and just kind of, yeah, the basics of really just what I think. And I do also do a few really pretty slow dungeons, but I get to talk about my opinions on keying as well, so I do hope you enjoy. So I started off the day by doing a little bit of Dungeoneering. Um, Now, these aren't the best teams. They're basically just random people, but they don't rage quit according to the clan rules. So that's kind of why I do. So this was a 42-minute floor. It would have been way slower without the key. So I really do like that keying thing because it means you don't have to shift keys. And in teams like this is where it becomes very helpful. It was kind of annoying though. I had to take quite a few deaths in this dungeon and the dungeon I did later just to get it done. And it wouldn't let me leave because then the floor was going to start. But then I also went and made my Prometheum hatchet and pickaxe. And one of the cool things is, even though I don't have the level to use a Prometheum item, I can still use basically what the equivalent would be. And that was written in the behind the scenes and everything. So basically, even though I can only use like Gorgonite hatchet, it count like I can just have the Prometheum bound or in the tool belt and not have to worry about it. And I used that several times. Next, I did some C2 fishing, and this was actually really good. I thought it was much more relaxing. Like you go to like rock tails because you kind of want to AFK. This is obviously not that AFK. I mean, it will never be that AFK, but it wasn't bad. Like you kind of sit down, you clicked it. I mean, yeah, you have to go through some combat. You have to be switching some stuff, between floors, stuff like that. But it really wasn't bad. Overall, I'd say that the speed of C2 fishing has gone up a bit, um, but not much because the reality is somebody that was absolutely pro at C2 fishing, it didn't matter. Like they could, they could basically drop the fish fast enough and everything that really there'd be no difference in speed. Um, and I definitely think I kind of experienced that a bit. That there was really no difference in speed, but it was more just the difference in concentration. The kind of the willingness to do it kind of goes up because it's just that much easier. And I actually did pretty well on this floor. I got 80 fish that I caught. I think 82 fish. Most of those cave morays, so it was actually a really good floor for XP. And you know, I'd say just overall, this is I really like this fact that it does stack now. Um, I would say that it's maybe made it a little bit too easy, but at the same time, fishing's a pretty slow skill, so it's not really a big deal if you ask me. Um, and with that though, might be careful because Jagex might decide to nerf it in a few weeks. However, once again, as I said, the XP rate hasn't really increased. It's really just how easy it is to do. I mean, I'm pretty sure I explained that fairly well, but I'll explain it again in case you didn't understand. Because if you're using like mouse keys and everything, then once you catch a fish, you drop it and it's almost instantaneous. But like, if you can get that down, then there's literally no time difference. And, overall, it's really, really easy. That being said, you know, the it can be a slight difference if you're not that good at dropping, or if you're not using mouse keys, or you're logging out, doing something like that. Because there's the method that you go to the lobby and then you log back in, and all your stuff will be on the floor, and then you just pick up the items you need, and not that. You still do have to buy feathers at the start of each floor, as you can tell in my inventory, but that's really not that bad. It's like you just buy it and you're done. And the other thing, obviously, I'm picking up keys here, and they're going straight into the tool belt. It is a little bit annoying that you can't see the keys. Um, it's obviously something that a lot of people like the ability to do because, obviously, if you see the key and you say, okay, we don't have that key, move on to the next door, you don't have to go and physically click on it or something like that because you can't really see it in combat. You have to be out of combat to see the keys. Now, I think that's something they'll fix in a future update, they'll say, now when you click on, there's obviously an empty tab there where the Squeal of Fortune thing normally is. Maybe if you click on that, that's where the key, like the keys that your team has, would be listed out. And I'd say that it's probably very likely that they'll fix that in a future update. I'm just going to assume they will, because there's really no reason not to, and enough people are going to complain about it that they will. Because it is Jagex, and they do somewhat care enough to fix that type of thing. Yeah, I have to admit, the XP rate does feel faster. Obviously it's not physically faster, I don't really think. Might be a little bit, but it's not faster to the point that you might really say it would be. But I would say it's a little bit faster. Just for the average person, quite a bit faster for the average person if they're not going to use mouse keys. And I'd say it's just a more worthwhile way to fish. And I had to get out of combat to leave the dungeon, so that's why I did that. And then after that, I did some C3. Basically, my idea here was I'm going to mine, woodcut, and if I saw it, fish. I think I never saw any fish. And it's a little bit weird for me because I'm not used to looking at the walls all the time. And I don't actually really know the trees that well at all. But overall, I thought this was okay for kind of I thought woodcutting was pretty good. XP wise, woodcutting seemed excellent. 285, 285, 285. That's insane. By the way, this is obviously after I have my Prometheum hatchet and pickaxe. So I'm not using the Prometheum hatchet and pickaxe. I think I'm using it basically it defaults to whatever it would use. So I think it's a Gorgonite hatchet and a Kratonite or Catagon pickaxe. I forget which one. Maybe it's Kratonite. I don't remember exactly. But the woodcutting seemed kind of crappy. Or not the woodcutting, the mining seemed kind of crappy. Now that could be because I'm kind of a tier lower. If you didn't know Dungeoneering, it kind of works in tiers. So basically, if you're 80 to 90, you get one type of tree and fish and stuff like that. And so that's why when people say, this is the approximate XP rate you would get at this level, they usually do from 80 to 89. You'll get approximately, 70k fishing XP or whatever it is per hour. And basically that comes down to you would be fishing salvials and blue crabs. And at 90, once you get to 90, you can fish, you'd fish cave morays and blue crabs. So it's it's that same kind of tier system. I think it's the same for wood cutting and mining. It seems to be. And so since I'm just kind of that lower tier, since I'm 78 mining, I think that kind of hurt my XP rates overall. But it is pretty nice. I think this overall is actually very efficient XP per hour, total XP per hour, not so much like necessarily wood cutting, because obviously you're switching back and forth. You're doing some wood cutting, some mining. If there's fishing there, I probably would have done that too. So you'd be kind of switching back and forth. So it's obviously not very efficient, individual XP per hour. But if you wanted to train mining and wood cutting, I think this would be a pretty good way to do it because it would be fairly efficient. It does seem like the wood, as you saw there, I only got 2 ores off that, which seemed kind of annoying to me. But it wasn't really a bad floor overall, I guess. There was a few times. I'm not really sure how the mining works is the problem, I think. I think, see, it seems to be halved, but not all of it, or I'm not really sure how the mining works. Obviously I have a much better pickaxe now, but it still wasn't doing that well. This one actually had a lot, and as you'll see here, this room had a lot of ores in it. And as you can see here, I seem to be getting the full XP, but it's only 100. Where compared to fishing, I'd be getting 150 fishing XP at this level. And wood cutting, if you look at what I'm wood cutting, it's insane the amount of XP I'm getting per thing. And it seems like a lag to there or something, I'm not really sure. But 200 something XP per woodcut compared to like 100 XP per mining, and no wonder miners feel like they're always getting, the short end of the stick. But yeah, I mean, it didn't seem too bad, I guess. I mean, mining's obviously a pretty slow skill. I mean, at least they made it somewhat AFKable, like at the Living Rock Cavern and stuff, but it's overall still pretty slow. I think, see, if you look at this one, it looks like it got halved. So it's like, um, it's sort of like fishing where you get one halved XP one and then in each room, and then the rest are full XP. It kind of seemed like that might be it. The one pond I saw the entire dungeon had nothing in it, and I was so sad. Um, but yeah, I'd say if you definitely if you want to train mining and woodcutting, this might be a good way to do it. You have to obviously get the Prometheum pickaxe and hatchet. And personally, I just did that in a solo medium floor and went around, collected pretty much everything I could, and yeah, then I opened the thing. And I definitely advise that if you can. Obviously, you have to boost kind of high to be able to do it. You have to be 91 or be able to boost that, but it's definitely worthwhile if you can. Finally, I just did another uh, another floor. This one was even slower than the first, which was kind of annoying, but we really got screwed on this one. I mean, there's merc rooms, like each thing we had was just huge. And I also took like 5 deaths on this floor. And there was a bunch of monsters and stuff, a lot of guardian doors, stuff like that. So it wasn't the greatest floor, but oh well. I do think overall the keying has gotten faster though. Well, thanks for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I did enjoy this Dungeoneering update, as I said at the beginning. I think it's a really good update, like the tool belt and everything. It just makes Dungeoneering a little bit easier for everybody, and even for the high levels that have been Dungeoning for a long time. I mean, there's only that one problem with the keys, and I think they will fix that. Um, Other than that, tomorrow will be my achievement diary. Hopefully, I will get quite a bit done before then. I'm getting fairly close to having some stuff done, so um, and yeah, so tomorrow should be a good achievement diary. On Friday, I will have probably a new guide. Then Saturday, a Slayer diary. And obviously, this is day 4 of my marathon, so subscribe for all of that, and please rate and comment on this video.